Yeah, really looking forward to it. We went down there early last year, so we understand I think we play the ground okay. It's been a bit longer, a bit skinnier. Defence becomes pretty important, on those types of ground. So, and yeah, great team. So we relish the opportunity to get down there and pitch ourselves against the Cats again.
Ben Mackay, obviously it was an interesting switch that you made on the weekend.
Yeah.
Posing a different sort of threat at the other end. So how do you sort of weigh up where you're using?
Well, it's a bit of both. I mean, in our review, we didn't take enough opportunities, which sort of shaping the ball and getting it into our forward line. We think we created a fair bit and didn't take some use. Got a bit forced down the line. Credit to Adelaide. But the times that it did go in there, we like Ben as that target. So he was comfortable down there last week. We think the movement with him and Nick worked really well. It allowed Cam to probably do some of the things that he did. So it's not only, when you consider those things, just the one person, it's the impact that it has for the rest of the group down there. So there'll be another interesting discussion at match committee this afternoon between forward and back, obviously with Tom and Ben. So, but yeah, we quite like the opportunity to sort of play him down there. Whether we go with it again this week, we'll wait and see what happens through training today.
Taran staying in Tassie post-game, just explain where his week's at and where he sits.
Yeah, no, Taran flew back to Sydney. He didn't stay in Tassie. So we'll just assess where he's at through the week. He's back today, so haven't had a chance to catch up with him yet. But he's here to train, so we'll wait and see what that looks like, I think, in the next 24 hours.
Are you happy in hindsight with the decision for him to play?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think so, Drew. I think you've got to back the players in. He understands, as I said, post-game, that when you walk across that line, there's a level of competition and there's a way that you've got to produce a performance. So he understands that. It's probably the first time he's really, experienced that type of thing. I've coached players previously that are really good and capable of being able to compartmentalise those emotions and still be able to play. He's a young guy. We wanted to back him in, exercise and giving them that opportunity to play is also part of that mental health. Some of the advice is that they should keep playing, they should keep training. So when they're in a familiar environment, around their teammates, so there's all those things that you take into consideration. So, but yeah, a few days on, now that he's been able to get back home, chat to his mum, we'll see where he's at in the next 24 hours.
He's been at the footy club now for a couple of days. What sort of conversations have you had with Jeff in the short time he's been?
Oh, look, all I can say is I've met Jeff for 10 minutes. Say good day. I've worked with Jeff on a couple of different projects with the AFL. Haven't had any time to sit down with him, and we're not going to make an ongoing commentary on what we're talking about. I've said good day, and that's all I've had an involvement with him so far.
Obviously, with reviews, generally it can result in change in some form.
Yeah.
Whether it be in coaching or footy department or wherever. Yeah. Are you concerned about what that means for you or your coaching group?
No, not really. I mean, all reviews should have some outcomes, shouldn't they? They should have an ability for you to assess where you're at. Dan's been working pretty hard on some direction where we're going anyway for next year. So it's not like we're not doing anything and we're not reviewing as we go. We've taken a temperature as to where we're at mid-season, as I think most clubs would probably do in that bye period. Gives you an opportunity to have that week where you don't have an opposition coming up, that you can just review things, look at some of your stats, talk to your staff in a little bit more detail than you do on a weekly basis. So I would think that it'll, as I've said before, I think some of the outcomes will be similar to what our direction is that we want to go with. So we've got some pretty experienced guys in our group, so we're comfortable where things are at.
Given your rolling contract is unique in terms of many other coaches in the competition, have you been given any assurances on next year, or have you sought any assurances on next year?
No, I don't believe I need any, to be honest with you. I'm really comfortable. I've got ongoing conversations with the board, spoken to Sonia, meet with Ben regularly. So yeah, I'm not comfortable where we're at from a footy team perspective, just to clear that up. But I've said all the while, we've got a clear direction that we want to take. We understand that rebuilds are really difficult. You do have those periods where it ebbs and flows. At the moment, it's ebbing, it's not flowing very well. And yeah, they're difficult periods. So you just need to be united and stay together and stay to the plan.
Do you think that whatever Jeff's feedback ends up being can help in the short term, or do you see it more as a longer term?
Yeah, good question, Drew. There's there's not a lot that can happen sort of in the immediate period right now, like the next, whether it might be some operational things, don't know. I would think it's probably more geared around the future direction, I don't know. But again, not anything that I think Dan and myself have sort of spoken about, and with Brady, in regards to those areas from an operational, systems, processes, list management, we have those ongoing conversations all the time.
At Carlton, Jeff obviously did a review there late last year, which had a certain effect. I know some Carlton people have been on record as saying it was difficult at times having almost an external person come in and be looking over their shoulder. Do you address that with staff, how you handle that? Is it something that you think, maybe something you have to think about for the next few weeks?
Yeah, maybe it's something you have to think about. We haven't addressed it at this point in time. I think, as you said, Jeff's only been in here for a few hours so far, so haven't seen it as a necessity to address that. But if we need to, we'll chat to our guys about it.
Jeff does have previous history in the football club. Do you think that's a good thing that he knows his way around Arms Street?
Hasn't been here for a while, but the foundations, I think, of what he was trying to put in place. Our club's been renowned for being about its people. It's the connection that we have with our people, our members, our fans, our staff. So I think he would understand that spirit and that emotional attachment of the importance of our people. Yeah, for sure.
When did you learn this review was happening? Did you feel blindsided at all when it was announced?
No, not really. I mean, being around for a while, you understand that, the circumstances of where we are brings with it additional interest. So from that side of things, it wasn't overly surprising. No, I certainly didn't feel threatened and welcome the opportunity just to continue to make us get better, to be honest.
And Cunnington just is
Yeah.
situation.
So just a little tweak last week. We're not sure, where that'll land in the next 2 or 3 weeks. Hopefully it settles down. We're able to keep moving him forward in rehab at the moment. So probably give us a week to assess where that actually looks like it's going to land, and then we'll probably know what the next month looks like after that. So that's him. Will Phillips, you would have heard about. We put a statement out about poor old Will. So hasn't been able to take a trick this year. So he's really frustrated. He can't get back into training. Wants to help. So that's been a bit frustrating. So they're probably the two, over the last sort of 24, 48 hours that we'll just have to track as we go through for the remaining part of the year.
Just on Ben McKine and his role in,
Yeah.
when you're weighing up the team needs versus someone's long-term development, I listened to David King this week. He was talking about what it meant for Ben's long-term development to be taken away from Eric Train to a new position. How do you sort of view that conversation in terms of what it means for him versus what it means for the team?
Yeah, well, we've had that conversation. We've sat down and said, from a longer-term perspective, what does that look like? There's work in the background for us as to what we need to go and acquire in the trade or a draft period. So we've had some of those loose conversations for Ben. We've had the conversation around where we think his future is with us. So we've actually had that. But look, he's comfortable with us having him play forward. Certainly last week, whether he goes back this week, we're not sure. But yeah, we've certainly been upfront and honest with him as to where we see what that actually looks like. So, his data would indicate at the moment that he's a pretty good key defender. So we understand that that's probably the long-term view of where we see him. But is there an opportunity for us to look at certain things at the moment that might give us some more flexibility? Certainly that's what we're looking at the moment.
It's a fascinating vision. So Jeremy Cameron 10 centre bounce and then drifting forward and being able to get a mismatch.
Yeah.
So you would have seen that. And Geelong
Yeah, I saw a few of those.
Yeah, may not have gone that way this week, but just trying to match up on Jeremy Cameron, such a unique athlete.
Yeah.
You've got an eye.
Well, yeah, probably got a couple, but he's a difficult opponent. When he gets up the ground and his ability to run and connect, is a difficult scenario. You almost need two different types of defenders to play on him at certain times, don't you? One that can actually run and be able to go with him from an athletic perspective, and one that can defend him with some speed and some aerial power. So not many teams have got that unique person that can go with him all the way and defend him. So yeah, we'll have to make sure we've got some clear plans as to what happens when he moves up the ground and what happens when he's inside 50 and the Cats have got the ball. So yeah, but he's certainly causing some trouble when he's up the ground, no doubt.
Geelong's such a mature, hardened
Yep.
team. They know how to win.
Yeah.
How difficult from a coaching perspective is that to come up against?
I think it's the challenge, Drew. I think it's the challenge that our group need to embrace, by going down there this week, playing a mature team, and understanding what that actually is going to require to be able to go down there and be really competitive with a team like the Cats. So that's the challenge for us this week, is to be in the right mind space and the right head space to go down and actually be strong and competitive at the footy. That's where it starts, and you've got to get that piece right. So if we can get that piece right and get ourselves in the game, then we'll go from there.